We do not want to get in a situation where we have 100 different attorneys going into that compound. We could be here till next fall. I don't think any of us want that. What we want to do is have those people who are leaders, who desire counsel to make their final decisions, they will be afforded that opportunity. At this point, we only believe that affects 2 people. Yes, sir, back here. Yes.
What are the potential ramifications then down the road if 1 or 2 defendants or potential defendants in this case are allowed extended conversations with their legal counsel and 90 or so other potential defendants get no conversations with legal counsel?
What are the legal ramifications of other people not being granted counsel? Is that your question? The legal ramifications, as I understand it, are nil. The people will be afforded counsel as soon as they exit from the compound and are taken before a magistrate for their initial appearance. They will be warned by the arresting officers with regard to their Miranda rights. They will be reinforced, those rights again, when they appear before a magistrate. And at that point, counsel will be appointed for them. So at this point, they have not been required to make any statements without the presence of counsel. Yes, sir.
Could you assess Mr. DeGuerin's timetable that was mentioned the other day? Would you give it another 24, 48 hours, or what is his timetable to get something resolved?
The question is, what is Mr. DeGuerin's timetable? And he himself has no desire to engage in this process for an extended period of time, and he knows he's talking in terms of days. We won't put a definite time limit on it. If we have after 2 days, we believe 1 more day might break the deadlock and they would be willing to come out, we will extend that 1 more day. But we're not saying you have 24 hours, 48 hours to get this issue resolved, but we do want assurances from him that he's making progress, and he wants it that way too. He has no desire to continue this thing over an extended period of time. Yes, over here on the end.
Yes, sir. Is this particular stage of the affair just part of the process? And that you're just testing this professor, anything to get them out of there? Meanwhile, bearing in mind that you're prepared to go to any lengths to get them out.
The question is it the allowing of counsel to be inside the compound, is it part of the process? And will we go to any end to get it resolved? We will go to almost any logical end that does not prejudice the government in some way. We're not going to plea bargain away any charges that are there. We've made that clear from the very beginning. What we have tried to do is take this in very logical steps. We think that this was the next logical step that needed to be done. We were getting conversation again that they were back on track, that they wanted to focus on how to get it resolved. Counsel, he had been notified going back almost 2 weeks ago that counsel had been there. There had been no great desire on his part to speak with counsel. Now he was speaking in terms of, I need to speak to my own private counsel to get these issues resolved, and with someone I can completely trust and not rely solely on the government for that information. So to us, it was the next logical step. Yes, sir, right here.
But anything, the sticking points right now are the legal matters, or is it a bit of the mechanics of coming out, or is it his message from God and getting his message out, or just what are the sticking points we're talking about?
The question is, what are the sticking points that are precluding this from being brought to a logical conclusion? It's hard to say. Again, we're not privy to the discussions that Mr. DeGuerin has had with Mr. Koresh and Mr. Snyder. However, it would appear that perhaps he may be going through some of the same things we're going through. I don't know. But as I've reported previously, oftentimes we were given specifics that seemed to be key to the resolution of the issue, and once we would solve that particular matter, then they would rule it off as being inconsequential and move on to another matter. So they have historically set up certain stumbling blocks, and once those were removed, they would set up additional stumbling blocks. So it's hard for me to predict where they are right now. Yes, right here.
Say that it seems that Mr. DeGuerin's going through some of the things that you're going through, like what?
Like I said, it's hard for me to speculate. I do know that we're talking in terms of hours now that he spent with them. We're talking over, I believe, almost 10 hours of conversation that he's had over the last 2 days. and he's very confident in his ability to persuade people. That's the nature of his profession. I believe in his own mind that he probably believed this whole matter would be settled by now. So I know that there must be a certain amount of frustration that he is going through, and like I said, I would have to speculate as to what is taking place in there. I do not know what those conversations have been. Yes, sir, right here.
Mr. Rex, a couple of weeks ago, Media Affairs Director in the White House told me that the President is being briefed each morning on what's happening with this situation. Has he at any point been in contact with the command center here?
Question is, has the President been in contact with those in the command control center here? The President has not been. Our way of communicating back to Washington, D.C. is through our own chain of command. We have a situation group, an operations group in Washington, D.C. that we report to. They report to the Attorney General, and our understanding is the Attorney General then would report to the White House. Yes, ma'am?
You say the Bureau was carrying a white package into the compound. Could you tell us what the significance is of that package, if any at all?
Question is, Mr. DeGuerin took in a package inside the compound. He obviously is taking notes. He has certain legal matters that he's performing for them, which I don't want to get into. But there are requests of a legal nature that they want to ensure will take place, and also he has to record for his own needs the statements that they may make to him. So he has packages of material that he will be taking in just as any lawyer would in seeing a client. Yes, ma'am, a follow-up.
And if you could just describe to us maybe some of the action that was taking place yesterday afternoon around the compound, including some sort of building going on top of the building, and then also later there was a bus that was brought in that looked like maybe a Greyhound type bus.
Your question is what was going on around the compound. A lot of this I'm not familiar with.
Cameras definitely picked up. At least.
I don't doubt that it didn't occur. I noticed in the news this morning it was reported that a truck or some other vehicle showed up. I went back and viewed that. It was just a Bradley vehicle that was there at night, and it was their lights. It appeared to be a truck, but it was just a Bradley. A lot of our activity has been limited. We tried not to interfere with what's going on in the process. Some of the activity that's taken place is still those within the compound. We have not removed the outside debris that we've been doing previously. But I'll go back and try to check on that, see what that was.
From what you know of, you don't remember a bus there yesterday?
A bus going up? No, ma'am, I do not. Yes, right here.
If negotiations, in your words, have ceased, and Mr. DeGuerin is there to get whatever deal he can get, whatever he can get, what happens if that's not possible? Since you are not communicating with Mr. Koresh directly anymore, and in your words, negotiations have ceased. Well, if Mr. DeGuerin is not successful, what happens?
What does this mean if negotiations have ceased and Mr. DeGuerin is not successful? They've only ceased at this point. That does not mean they would not be restarted. As I said, we are not trying to interfere with the conversations that he is having with those in the compound. If he's not successful, and boy, we hope with all our power that he is successful, at this point, he will become an opponent of the government, of course, once this process is over. But we're wishing him nothing but great success. If he's not successful, we will have to go back, reorganize, and restart the process all over again. Yes, ma'am, right here.
Have you ceased trying to contact him during this purposely, or have you tried to contact him, and is he not willing to talk to you during the times he's talking with DeGuerin?
The question is, have we intentionally not contacted him? The answer is yes. We see nothing that could be gained by us trying to contact Mr. Koresh during this period of time. We want all of his energies focused with his counsel, trying to get this issue resolved. We don't want to have him distracted in any manner. So we are not in any way trying to create additional impediments or trying to focus their discussion. It's their discussion to be had between those two people. And they will decide how they want this issue resolved. So we're not going about trying to interfere with that. Yes, ma'am, right.